I am 26 years old, college graduate, and I'm a former smoker. I started smoking at the age of 17, which is about 5 to 6 years of smoking. At first, it began as an experiment. Most of my friends were already smokers at the time. There was the peer pressure factor, but no one really judged me if I didn't smoke. It was basically a choice that I made. I started at first with 6 to 7 cigarettes a day, and within 2 years I started smoking a pack to about a pack and a half, which is about 20 to 30 cigarettes a day. When I was 21, my father found out that I smoked and was really disappointed. Ever since then, I thought of quitting a lot more seriously. I wanted to quit, but I lacked the guidance, so I met up with my family physician. And the first thing he asked me was I ready to quit? And I believe that's the most important thing, because having the thought of quitting is one thing, but having a strong determination and the mindset of quitting is another. I wrote down all the reasons why I should quit. The first thing was my family. It really mattered to me that my family, especially my parents, were upset with the choice I made. And I didn't want to see my younger siblings smoke. Another thing is my health. I really wanted to participate in sports and social activities that otherwise smoking would make me avoid. Another good reason is money. A pack a day over the years sums up to a lot of money, which I can save by not smoking. Also, if my health gets any worse, all these medical costs would come in. So then I planned it all out. I identified the challenges I had. My first and biggest challenge I had was my addiction to nicotine found in tobacco, but this can be overcome by nicotine replacement therapy. My other challenges were the associations I had with smoking, like smoking with my friends, or after a meal, or while watching a movie or TV. Then I wrote down the triggers. These triggers are things that would force me to smoke. Things like stressful situations, frustration, anger, anxiety, heavy workloads. Then I set a quit date for myself. July the 5th, 2012 was the last day I'd ever smoked, and from that day on, I would never touch a cigarette again. The doctor explained to me the different methods in quitting. The things that caught my attention were nicotine replacement therapy, like nicotine gum, patches, nasal spray, nicotine candy, inhalants, and behavioral modifications. The behavioral modifications were essential in quitting. It would help me in avoiding my triggers and when dealing with smoking associations. Like, for example, I would avoid driving during rush hours, and when I'm angry or stressed, I would take in deep breaths. Like, if you think about it, it's almost like smoking. I would manage my time in order to avoid heavy workloads and pressures. I would eat snacks while watching a movie. I also started swimming again, and that really boosted my self-esteem and my confidence that I can quit. My first attempt was actually a failure. I used nicotine patches and I barely lasted a single day. In my second attempt, I did what they call cold turkey. I basically stopped suddenly. I stopped smoking suddenly, and I did not take any medication. It was after a confrontation with my father, and I felt ashamed, I felt guilty, and I lasted like 4 to 5 days without smoking. My third attempt was not an actual attempt. It was rather more of an experiment. I used the drug they call Champix. It's basically supposed to reduce the pleasurable effects of smoking. And it actually worked for me at the time. It made smoking a lot less desirable and a lot less appealing. But I didn't see it through because I had a really busy schedule. My fourth and last attempt, I used all my experiences and everything I've learned. I've used Champix and my behavioral modifications to avoid my triggers and associations. And it wasn't that hard, actually, to quit. I had a lot of support from my family, and it was actually easy. It was a lot easier than I imagined it to be. Actually, come to think of it, when I used to smoke, I used to have these minor headaches after each cigarette. I'd also developed these really strong acid reflexes that needed medication at the time. I did not develop the cough, but I did really develop a lot of phlegm. Also, I had the smell, which really affected my social life. I actually felt amazing because because smoking would make me dull, and after all these headaches being gone, I felt more alert, I felt more alive, I last longer in sports, I can breathe a lot better, I don't have breathing problems. I wouldn't tell them smoking is harmful, they probably already know that. They probably don't even want to hear that anymore. But what I would tell them is that they have a choice that they can make. Don't let that thing take control of your life. To me, it was the fear. It took control of me. But once you overcome that fear, once you defeat it, anything is possible. You see, I associated smoking with fun and memorable moments. And I was afraid that if I stopped smoking, all that would be gone. I've been smoke-free for 342 days.